Welcome everybody to the MiniMapCast. This is minimap.com.au's weekly games podcast, your favorite weekly games podcast. My name is Kerry Palmer, and joining me as always is Jeremy Braditich.
The ninth planet in the solar system, Pluto.
I mean, I will never forget when they demoted Pluto.
I will also never forget that.
There are kids these days who are growing up as that being a historical fact.
It is. I mean, it is true. Like
yeah, but it's a thing that happened in the past outside of their consciousness. You know, it's like I wasn't there for the Vietnam War. You know, but like I was there when Pluto got demoted. That was a sad day. Pluto was always my favorite planet.
Get that on a shirt. I was there when Pluto got demoted.
Pluto was demoted,
and all I got was this lousy shirt. No, like I know what you mean though, right? Because like I've been listening to this podcast called The Dollop, which is like an American history podcast. And
extra dollop.
And I'm saying it's an American history podcast, and the episode that I've just been listening to is about Albert Einstein, which is funny. And about what kind of a person he was, and when they're talking about him, it's funny that they are referencing people having conversations with Einstein when he was a younger man and had not discovered or not theorized the theory of relativity, for example.
Right, because that hadn't happened yet.
Because it hadn't happened yet. But like them talking to Einstein and, you know, saying phrases like, "You're not a genius, Einstein," or whatever, which is funny considering that Einstein now is synonymous with the word genius.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's funny to consider as well. You and I watched Oppenheimer semi-recently, and he's in that film.
Great movie.
Yeah, great movie.
I don't know. I can't believe they cast Einstein for that for that movie.
Well, first of all, whoever they got, I don't know who they got for Einstein, but like they might as well have just gotten like the guy.
I remember when the film came out, and I think that person was interviewed as being like, I kind of can't believe I'm doing this role, but I hope I can do it justice.
Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah, like, and you know, I don't mean this like genuinely, but he did it justice just by looking like him. Only because he's like spitting fucking image. It's bonkers.
Yeah.
But yeah, just like the realization that like someone like Einstein, like wasn't that long ago when he was alive.
Yeah.
Like it was, you know.
He was there during the Second World War, right?
Yeah, like, you know, it's like he was alive when like when he was alive, my parents were alive. Like that's just how that works.
Yeah. Yeah, that's wild.
Like when did Einstein die?
Einstein.
Death? Okay. No, he wasn't alive when our parents were alive, but that's only off by a year. He died in
close.
1955.
Yep.
So there are plenty of people alive who, one, would have met Einstein.
Yes.
And two, would have remembered when he died.
I am frequently caught off guard by thinking about how, you know, when you'd be like 10 and like the news would be on the TV and there'd be a like, "Oh, this person died," and you'd be like, "Who?" and your parents would be like, "Oh, them. Oh, that's a shame," and you'd be like, "Who?" Yeah. Unless it was like a tragedy. It was like someone either huge or like it happened really early, so you had a bit more of a reference for who they were. But like if like tomorrow, I'm just gonna I don't want to pick someone.
Just pick someone. It's fine. Just pick someone.
No, but I don't want
to jinx it.
Yeah, exactly. Who's someone who did die recently?
Who died recently? The lead singer.
Yeah, this year or the last couple of years. Let's say Carrie Fisher, right?
The lead singer of Smash Mouth. Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, lead singer of Smash Mouth's a good one, right? Because like we watch Shrek, we know Smash Mouth. And it's like, oh, they died. That's sad. But like my niece and nephew, if they hear that headline, they're going to be like, "Who?"
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And then as time goes on, it's just going to be more and more of that where we start, but we're going to start seeing people who like have been around forever. Like one day when we are in like decades, probably, hopefully, because, you know, otherwise this would be tragic. But like Brad Pitt will die and we'll probably be like 50 or 60 or 70. And it'll be like, Oh wow! Like him? I
Well-
never thought that could happen, but of course it could because that's what always happens. But like,
Well, like I'm in that boat at the moment when I'm looking at like some of like my favorite directors, for example. Like I'm looking at like to me the like there's sort of a back and forth between like Tarantino's not like he's not incredibly old, like he's old, he's mature,
like
but he
50, 60?
he's probably in his like late 50s, early 60s, yeah.
Yeah.
He's currently filming his 10th movie or writing his 10th movie, which is going to be his last film. He's always said I'm going to do 10. I'm going to do not any more than 10. Whether or not that ends up being
arbitrary.
Oh, like I think he's basically said like I want to I kind of want to go out on top. Like I don't want to keep doing stuff when I'm older and maybe not doing as well because I'm a bit older. Like he wants to go out while he's sharp. I think what he'll done is like what he's talking about when he's talking about doing 10 movies is he means writing and directing. Whereas he will probably continue to write after his 10th film because he's written films.
So he doesn't want to like keep doing these whole very intensive like the last 4 years of my life have been this kind of a deal.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But for example, like Marty Scorsese, he's quite old now.
Yeah.
And his most recent film has just wrapped like not just wrapped, like I think it's out soon.
Is it
like
post prod or right.
Yeah, like it's been shown at film festivals. And like he's old enough now that like without being too morbid, like I'm almost treating every movie that comes out as his last. Not because
like it could be.
Like it could be his last. One, because he just might retire.
Yeah.
Or two, he might, pass away. Like you don't know. And that like his whole gang, like De Niro, Pacino, Joe Pesci, all that stuff, like they're all roughly the same age.
I was thinking about that. You said Martin Scorsese's kind of old now. I was like, yeah, so are all of his actors.
Like that's the thing, right? Is like they're kind of gonna start falling off at some point.
Yeah.
That's just how that goes.
Yeah, it's pretty messed up. The world's a weird place.
It's like looking at the original cast and crew of the original Star Trek show, right? Like there's like I think like 6 of them left out of the original like sort of 9.
Right.
And they're all slowly, eventually they'll all die.
Mm-hmm.
Like
yeah,
Shatner's like 90 or something.
Oh he's really getting on.
Yeah.
It blew my mind when I found out that current day Shatner was old times Star Trek man.
Correct.
Because I only knew him from like my mum and my brother used to watch Boston Legal when I was like 9, and that show was beyond me when I was that young.
Yeah, same.
But like, he was on it and we had the DVD and he's on the covers, and like I was, I'd walk past the TV and not be interested and he'd be there on the TV, and it was like, oh, that's like that, because he's just, I don't know, still working, still doing like recognizable roles.
Oh,
he's 50 years older.
Not so much anymore, but like
I'm not saying they're on the same level of like Kirk.
Yeah. Yeah. You know the other guy in Boston Legal? Do you know who that is?
Yeah, James Spader.
Yeah. I didn't know that until like a few years ago because I also didn't watch.
That's for me like my biggest touchstone for his work.
Oh, for me it's the Battlestar the Stargate movie is what it is.
Oh.
He was the lead actor in the original Stargate film from the like late 80s.
Sam, I think you're talking. Sam's in the chat. I think you're talking about Will Wheaton, not William Shatner. Shatner was Kirk.
Yeah, Will Wheaton. I've met,
but kind of a similar vibe. Like a completely different person then to what he was now. Like
I've met both of those people.
you go to conventions.
Yeah. I used to spend money on getting photos with them. Yeah, and I don't do that anymore. But I did.
Fair enough.
I know it's fine.
That's okay.
Will Wheaton's kind of awkward. It's shocking to believe. It's a little bit awkward.
I would believe that.
Yeah.
So am I most days. All days. Hey, everyone, this is the MiniMapCast. If you didn't know, this is minimap.com.au's weekly games podcast.
This is MiniMapCast's in memoriam segment.
Yeah, the morbidity podcast. There's a bit of a weird start, but aren't they all? Hey, thanks for joining us. If you didn't know, this podcast goes live every week on Wednesday every Wednesday with 24 hours of early access given to all of our patrons. More on that in just a second. If you like what you're hearing, make sure to tell your friends, give the show a positive rating, join us for the live show maybe if you want to. What live show? Well, we are around on all the social medias. That is Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and Twitch. The account is at MiniMapAU. And yes, we're on Twitch every Monday night, streaming live, 7:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time until daylight savings hits soon. Until daylight savings hits soon. Too many S's in there.
It is soon, isn't it? It's like in...
It'll be probably in about a month, maybe a little less.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's time to warm up to. I'm not ready for summer. It is. I think it's going to hit like a ton of bricks, and I'm not ready for it.
Yes, yeah. I am with you in that boat.
Yes, we are all in this rickety boat together. So yeah, if you like what you're hearing, you could join us for the live show. It's a really good time. We just had a really weird pre-show where we spoke about our time with Cyberpunk recently, which we don't even have time for on the main show today. And also, what else? We're talking about Goofy and Pluto. Things went they went in a strange direction. So if you want to know what that's all about, come and join us on the Twitch stream. We wanted to say thank you to Shook for letting us use the Moog Model D Improv as the music for the MiniMapCast. You can listen to more of Shook's music at shook.bandcamp.com. And finally, MiniMap is completely independent and funded almost entirely out of our own pockets. So if you'd like to help keep the mics and lights on, you could support us by becoming one of our patrons over on Patreon. That's for $5 a month. You can support the channel. You can support us over there. It gives you 24 hours of early access for all episodes of the MiniMapCast. You get extra bonus features like some press conference watch-alongs we've done. You get recordings of the post-show. So if you miss the stream and you want to catch the shenanigans when we try to name the show live with everyone in chat or come up with topics for the show, we did that last week. You can find that over there. So head on over to patreon.com/MiniMapAU to help us out. And remember, it's cheaper than a latte with oat milk. It's been a light week, Jeremy. It hasn't been a big week.
No, it's been one of the more quiet ones.
It's definitely what it definitely hasn't been is a week where there is so much news that the whole show is going to be news.
Yeah.
Definitely not that.
No,
actually, no, that's exactly what it is going to be, actually, because that is what it is. Because it's I lied, Jeremy. It's been a huge week. Yes. It's been ridiculous, really.
I just realized you need to change the stream info because we're no longer streaming Beton Brutal. Anyway, continue.
Yes, for the pre-show.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so for the second half of the show, we'll be talking about the two showcases that were announced and shown off within 24 hours of their announcements and within 7 hours of each other.
Yeah.
We got a Nintendo and Sony State of Play and a Nintendo Direct.
I can't believe they did that.
I know, right?
So
like,
weird.
Especially since the Nintendo one was so heavily rumored. Surely Sony had a good idea.
It's not just heavily rumored. It's like it's
like legit confirmed.
Well, but it's also just like it's storied. Like a September Direct is like it's a yearly thing.
Yeah.
It's like Christmas.
Yeah. And no, they did it on the same day. It was wild.
Yeah.
But that's not our headliner today. Our headliner is the game engine Unity. A game engine that you and I have experience with firsthand from our time at game design school, where we learned how to do that. We learned Unity. We learned how to program in it and deploy art assets in it and use the Unity store and use Unity. That's what we know. That's what we learned. And they were introducing all kinds of new software and like new updates every 3 to 6 months. It was like, whoa, they're introducing this. That's cool. And like gobbling up like plugins for things that were like, oh, wow, you're going to be able to edit scenes simultaneously with this new in-house thing. That's really sick and all that.
We learned on Unity 4 is what we learned. 4. And
I thought, I only ever knew it as like Unity like 2017, Unity 28. I thought it was...
No, that came just after, I think.
Oh, okay.
Because Unity 5 was I believe was the big jump to... there was a cutscene creator tool that got added as...
Yeah, but wasn't Wasn't our friend Brad playing with that in our first year?
Yeah, but he got an exemption to use it. Because he wanted to use it, and so he made a case and said, "Can I use it? Because I want to use this." And they were like, "Okay, fine," but you got to make sure that this works for what you're doing.
Yeah,
I believe that's the case. We learn in Unity. We know Unity. More importantly, like Unity is like one of the go-to engines for independent developers.
Yep.
For
student developers,
for like medium-sized studios, even for some large games as well, also can be made in Unity.
It's also one of the most approachable engines. It's one of the most competent, approachable, relatively easy to pick up versus how powerful it is engines.
Yes. Yeah. And they decided over the past week that they wanted to pull a real life gun out of their pocket and repeatedly shoot their own feet. And instead of moving their feet out of the way when they were firing their gun, they put the end of the gun against their feet to shoot it because and
then pulled the trigger twice.
Yes. Oh, more than twice. They emptied the whole clip.
Well, yeah.
And they announced a new pricing structure last week.
Jeremy, in this longer format of the show, I would be interested to know, do you have a rough awareness of what the previous licensing agreement is with Unity? I assume it's something similar to most engines or software in games, where it's like you once you hit a certain amount made, which is fairly small, like probably 5 figures, right? Like you've made 50,000, then you need to pay us a license fee for having used this engine to make your game. And then that's what they, that scales up with the larger the studio is, the more they sell through and all of that.
I don't immediately know what it was. What I believe it was closer to something like Adobe, where it was like you would just pay a yearly fee to get a specific version of the software. I don't think it was based off how much money you were making at the time.
Right.
I will if you could double check that while I'm sort of spieling. But my understanding was that it was a subscription style Unity Pro versus Unity Personal.
I forgot they added the Pro model.
Yeah. Which is where they also take money off their asset store and some of the stuff like the collaborative features, I think, were an additional subscription that you had to buy. And there was it was sort of like more bells and whistles that you could pay extra money for that was worth it for bigger developers to fork out that money, or developers with a greater deal of success to make their lives easier. But yeah, so the other day, on a what was it? It was on a Thursday, I believe.
Yeah, I don't know. It feels like a month ago, honestly.
Let me see, 15, 14, 13. Yeah, it was like on a Thursday. Unity announced their new pricing structure, which for eligible games that hit a specific eligibility based on how much money they have made and been
over
downloaded.
12 months. Yeah.
Yes. Unity would start charging a fee based on how many times... Unity would charge a fee on every time the game would be installed on a new users/customers machine. So if 150 people bought the game after this eligibility had been reached, then Unity would start charging a fee on each one of those 150 people that downloaded the game to the developers themselves.
Yes.
Which is this is a bad decision. This is a very bad decision. So it's
the kind of one that it takes a second to dawn on you too.
It does. It really does.
It's like, oh well, more money on the developers. I suppose one install, maybe they bought it for $30, so what's 20 cents?
but it's not. It's like the thing that I had to initially overcome in my mind is that it's not on every purchase. They're not taking a cut of every purchase. They're taking a cut of every.
Some games. Some games are free to play as well. You know, like, and then it's pulling out of a different money pile.
It's charging a fee based on at the time, at least initially, it was every install. That means if one person downloads the game on their machine and then they have a second computer they want to download that game to, say a second computer, say a Steam Deck, they would be, the developers of the game would be charged twice against this single user.
Mm-hmm. Per install.
Now, immediately everybody was like, hey, what the fuck? Like,
hang on.
Yeah, hang on a minute.
Hang on.
Like, what are you talking about? Like, this is nuts. This is terrible. What does that mean? And so the questions started to fly out everywhere. They initially put up a blog post where they spoke about this and shared some facts, shared a table about how much money you had to be making, how much money the game had to have made.
Yeah, let me clear this up. And then
put this wild table, which is like for Unity Personal and Plus, you have to make over $200,000 in the last 12 months, and you had to have over 200,000 installs, for example. For Unity Enterprise, which is the other end of that scale, the highest end scale, you had to make over $1 million in the last 12 months and over 1 million lifetime downloads. They would then charge 20 cents per install on the Personal and Plus, which is the $200,000 in the last 12 months and 200,000 lifetime installs. So 20 cents per install on that one, no matter what. And for the Unity Enterprise, which is the higher end. I'm skipping the middle only because I'm just trying to just give the
like
ends.
it kind of doesn't necessarily matter.
Yeah.
It's all the same thing.
Yeah, for the first 1 to 100,000 installs, they would charge 12.5 cents.
Yeah.
On those installs, 6 cents on every install that was between the first 100,000 and the first 500,000, 2 cents on 500,000 to 1 million, 1 cent on 1 million plus. They seem kind of arbitrary. These numbers seem extremely arbitrary. And they said, like, this is going to take place January 1st, 2024. Like, they just said that.
And they also said it will apply retroactively.
It will apply retroactively. So I think...
So for people who have made their games in Unity and have already sold it and made their money and have re-spent it into building out their studio or new hires or their next project, some of these devs are about to be slugged with a 5, 6, 7-figure bill.
So I'm not sure if that's like I was never clear if that was the case. That was always the part that is still struggled. I've struggled to wrap my head around
retroactivity.
Well, because like I know that what they're saying is the retroactivity would take place, but I couldn't wrap my head around as if they would then immediately charge you that bill, or the retroactive data would come into effect, and then at that moment they would start to charge if you were instantly eligible.
Right.
Yeah, I was never super sure about
right,
that.
if it was going to determine eligibility rather than per download fee. I mean, that would be better, but I'm not going to put anything past them at this stage.
No, and neither am I. And I think one of the biggest issues with this entire thing is how much this doesn't make any fucking sense. It goes on to raise even further questions about subscription services like Game Pass. Demos were initially included in this and then were quite quickly excluded from this, which is funny considering that gambling games or games with gambling with a focus on gambling were excluded from this from day dot.
Oh, what the fuck?
Yeah, I read that somewhere.
That was part of their initial pitch?
Something like that.
That's gross.
Free-to-play games would just get kind of fucked by this if they don't have really intense microtransaction implementation.
Right. And that's part of the thing as well, right? Because don't they have some sort of in-engine monetization program that they can offer, that they were offering developers that they're trying to get people to use? Or am I pulling that out of my ass?
I'm not familiar with that. Maybe I'm not sure.
Okay, maybe I'm pulling that out of my ass. Don't quote me on that. Something you can quote me on is I do have at least one of their previous payment systems. So this was announced 2016. So this is when we were studying, and they went from Unity 5.x in 2016 to Unity 2017 in 2017. And when that happened, when they changed to the yearly model of the engine, it became very much like Adobe, right? Instead of buying Adobe Creative Suite 6 or whatever, and you bought that for like $1,200 and you got it all.
Yeah.
You have to pay the subscription. And that's basically what they've got here. So it was Unity Personal. It's free. If you earn less than 100,000K in revenue or funding, then you don't need to. You can stay on that tier. It's all platforms. You have to have the splash screen.
Yeah.
The next tier was $35 per month with a 12-month commitment with a cap of $200,000 revenue or funding. And then the next one was Unity Pro with no revenue cap for $125 per month with 12-month commitment. And the shitty thing about that was that, but those second more pro tiers, the non-free tiers, the reason we didn't like it at the time was because that was where they put the dark mode. You had to, I think the dark mode went behind the paywall.
I think that got changed because it got moved from just it got moved from just an appearance setting to an accessibility setting. Which is where dark mode should always be. Like it should always be an accessibility thing as opposed to a thing that you have to pay for. I believe that did get moved.
So like it is kind of relatively cheap when you look at it that way. Like, I mean, I guess it gets interesting when you're looking at Unity Pro. It's $125 per month with a 12-month commitment. Is that like per license? So then like you're paying $125 per month per employee.
Yeah, it'll be that. That's how enterprise software works, right? Like it's you charge per account.
That's already a packet. Like it's
a bit of money. But but the thing is
that's like $1,500 that a company needs to pay to Unity per employee.
Yeah. Like it's not cheap. But I think the important thing is it's you can budget it, right? Like know
you got to pay someone something, right?
Totally. But you know how much you're going to be paying. You know, the thing that everybody is rightfully so up in arms about is that there is suddenly this dramatic, intense amount of uncertainty around how much everybody's going to be paying at any given moment, right?
And it also reads as a bit of a like a reason to not want to have your game be successful too. It's like the more successful it is, the more you're going to be charged.
And it's like, and it puts this intense metric of success or this even intense metric on the ability to make games is now intrinsically tied with how much money it is going to make and continue to make, which is just like, first of all, not what Unity is like known for.
No, it's definitely not what it started as.
No, and also not what games and art is. This is the equivalent of Adobe charging you or I every time someone downloads a PNG we've exported.
Yeah, or like clicks play on a video that you happen to export from Premiere in the first place.
Yeah. It is such a like aggressive money grabbing technique. And so, you know, there was dozens and dozens of studios and developers, having, very angry responses to this online.
Some really good ones too.
Yeah, some really great ones. Some really, really incredible jokes as well have come out of this, thankfully. There was one that I saw today. I'll see if I can pull it up while I'm talking. But like the response has just been so overwhelmingly negative from literally every single angle. And it's done the thing that the games industry hates the most, which is it is garnered attraction from the news outside of the game sphere.
Yes.
If there is one thing that the games industry hates more than anything else, it's being noticed by the people that are outside.
Yep, exactly. It's like if something's gone that badly that like, yeah, you hear about it on like the radio in the car or you just on like ABC News or whatever. It's like, oh fuck.
Totally, right? And
then you don't know what kind of reporting you're going to get on the issue, and people are going to ask you about it, and they're not going to have the right info, and it's going to be too big to talk about, and you're also annoyed about it anyway.
Yeah, and immediately they cannot control the narrative anymore. It has gone so well beyond what they can ever consider talking about.
Yeah, it's just like a gigantic collective fuck.
Yeah. So yeah, like this goes down terribly. Everyone is rightfully very upset. And then for the past 5 days on Twitter and other social media platforms, all I see from game developers is them trying Godot, them trying Unreal, them trying Game Maker, and
which is no, it's not a small deal. It's a huge deal to have to do that.
And them having open public conversations about, we are now considering extending out our development timeline to account for having to change games engines 3 months from launch.
Yeah.
It is so bad.
It's so bad.
And the fact that
it would stop me from using it as a student.
Yeah. Like, can you imagine the universities?
There'd be no reason for them to teach it. It would be such a red flag to everyone who had seen it, because it's making news everywhere.
Yeah.
And that anyone who's like, why are we learning Unity? And they could be like, oh, well, it's what we know. Is like, no, I'm not. If you're teaching me Unity, I'm not coming here. Like, it's going to become that. So then the unis will either, if they don't change already, which most of them probably will, then they'll figure out pretty quickly that their student body isn't interested in what they're pushing.
Well, it's not even that. It's like the uni's probably looking at that going like, well, we've got duty of care to try and not bankrupt a bunch of our students before they even complete their game course. You know, like, and, you know, don't get me wrong, if they hit this threshold, they have achieved a game that has become somewhat of a hit at a university course. But
if the uni set them up to like put themselves in that trap that Unity is setting up.
Yeah, exactly. So Unity then go quiet for a while. Like a couple execs at Unity are having conversations with like Totillo from Axios and a couple other places, and to try and get a single hand on this narrative that has left them, because everyone's looking at it going like, what the fuck have you done?
And like they came back with that clarification, like you said, of like, oh no, demos won't count. And it's like, we're not really that worried about the demos. It's not just the demos.
But they came back with, if you are on Xbox Game Pass, for example, which has 25 million plus subscribers, we will not be charging you, the developer, for these installs. We'll be charging companies like Xbox, which like oh, will you now? Do Xbox know this? Like, have you sat down
the
with
service that is like historically and actually quite publicly this year become known for being run at a loss?
Yeah, well, like not even run at an intense loss, but a service that is there to be a part of a greater ecosystem.
Yes.
And to be there to like
make money for the company.
Well, yeah, like act as a vessel to get you involved in other adjacent projects. Run by I'm not sure if you're aware of this, Kerry. The company that owns Xbox is Microsoft.
Oh yeah. The Windows company.
Yeah. They put Windows on cars and homes.
Yeah,
and stuff.
Yeah. It's a good service.
Yeah. If I search the word Microsoft company size in the world, their total assets as of this year are worth $411 billion.
Okay.
and they have 221,000 employees around the world.
That's a lot.
They're a company that are big enough and rich enough that they would have lawyers on retainer.
Probably hundreds or thousands.
Hundreds, at least.
at least hundreds, if not four figures.
That I think we have no reason to believe Microsoft had any idea about this.
No.
And
no, this is like when CD Projekt Red were like, "Oh, you could just refund the game."
Yeah.
And Sony were like, "Excuse me, what?"
Yep. It was also hilarious that this executive one, Mark Whitten, like named Xbox by name. It wasn't even like the owner of that publisher will be the owner of that subscription service will be responsible for the bill. It was like, no, like in the case of AgroCrab, which was the example that we're using, if they're on Game Pass, then the bill will go to Microsoft. And it's like, oh, okay, if you say so.
And that becomes a thing where Microsoft, instead of having to put let's say it's an average of one install per Game Pass user. Let's say they don't want to give Unity $5 million on the 1st of January.
Yeah.
And let's keep in mind that many Game Pass owners install many games because the service offers hundreds of games, which many of them will include Unity. So like, I imagine there would just become a policy for Xbox if that were the case, where they would just say no Unity games.
Yeah, no Unity games, or we're rate limiting Unity games. It's like, oh, we've hit a point where we actually don't want to pay this anymore until next month.
Yeah.
And so therefore we will halt downloads of Unity games. Good luck getting in the next batch. It goes on. There are other examples that get thrown around over the following days. But today, Kerry, there was an update from Unity. They tweeted. I've just lost it. I know I bookmarked it. Here we go. Unity said on Twitter, "We have heard you. We apologize for the confusion and angst the runtime fee policy we announced on Tuesday caused." Interesting word. Angst. Confusion. No one was confused.
All of this hand wringing instead of it's like, oh, you're all so concerned. Yeah. Oh no.
We are listening, talking to our team members, community, customers, and partners, and we'll be making changes to the policy. We will share an update in a couple of days. Thank you for your honest and critical feedback. So
nothing there yet. Just to hold.
Nothing there yet. The thing is, it's too late. It's too late. They have, you can't unset something on fire.
No, and you can't get these devs to turn around and come back to Unity when they've just spent the last week trying to figure out how to get as far away from it as possible, because it might tank the company if they don't. Like the horses have bolted. They're out. They're out of the stable. It's over.
So there was also, in the past, there was a line included in their terms of service agreement, which says that when you download a version of Unity, you will be able to get a terms of service that is attached to that version of Unity, and that is your terms of service. So your terms of service is intrinsically linked to the legitimate copy of Unity that you have installed on your machine. That way, if something changes down the line, your terms of service will not change to an updated version of the client that you are using. It will stay attached to the version that you are using. That's
the one you paid for. Those are the terms you get.
They made that change a little while ago as a show of good faith, which I think was a good faith thing for them to do. That line is gone, and they have said publicly that if that from now on this is the terms of service. They are doing the Star Wars I've altered the deal, the prayer don't alter it any further, kind of line there, and one of the lawyers who wrote something somewhere said something along the lines of like, this is ground legitimately in California law, which was hilarious to consider.
It's like, this is legal actually.
Yeah, but also like, okay, we're gonna send the fucking California cops to me in Melbourne or whatever. Like, what are you talking about? They have removed that. That no longer exists. They've deleted their GitHub repository, which included all of their terms of services. That was not done last weekend. That was done a little while ago. To be fair, you have to wonder how long these changes were in the pipeline. But yeah, they didn't delete the GitHub repository of all previous terms of services days before this happened.
No, it's part of a general trend though, right?
Yes.
Of more business forward, money making.
These things don't happen in a vacuum.
Anti-developer decisions.
So Rami Ismail has quote tweeted this statement, saying,
and he's had a bunch of great things to say about this.
Totally. Saying, it's terrifying to think Unity leadership dragged this over the weekend, leaving every studio out there with genuine existential concerns, and even now cannot simply go, our intent is to drop the per install fee we have, and cannot simply go, quote, our intent is to drop the per install fee. We have to be worried longer, and we have to keep talking about this. This is a trust issue. Devs spent the weekend trying Godot and Unreal for the first time in their lives. One developer managed to port their text-based game core over to Godot in 14 hours of work. Studios prepared to apply for some porting grants to Unreal. These steps are significant. The biggest irony is in their hunt for big money, Unity had to destroy the one thing they could have helped regain some trust, a terms of service clause that says they can't change this terms of service retroactively. The very clause that existed, but they were revoked ahead of the runtime fee announcement. He goes on for quite a while in many tweets. But like that's the gist of it, right? It's like they've not just fucked up, but they have fucked up in fucking up and hurt everybody along the way.
And gotten in their own way. And like they've made it much more difficult for them to be able to achieve the goals that they wanted to achieve with this policy.
Yeah.
They're going to lose thousands of users and developers with this. They're going to lose all of the unis. They're going to lose so much from this.
Yep.
And it's tricky. Like if the company is that big and they're not making enough money, I mean, who says how much is enough, right? Like they're probably publicly traded at this point. So like
they are definitely publicly traded.
So like, you as soon as a company gets that big, you're in murky waters. But like at the same time, like this is such so people who get paid the big bucks, it's so that they don't make boneheaded decisions like this. So that if they need to operate under pressure and do something gracefully that could affect so many thousands of their own employees, their bottom line, their future prospects, their reputation, that it doesn't all vanish in the case in over the course of 72 hours.
Yeah.
Which is what's happened here.
Yeah, and this was in my video, and I think it's worth bringing up again. The CEO of Unity is a guy named John Riccitiello. Over the past year, he has sold something along the lines of 50,000 shares in Unity. He is the CEO
of the company that he is the CEO of.
The CEO and president of, yep. He sold
50,000 shares.
Sold 50,000 shares. I don't know how many he owns. He could own 3 million shares. Like, we don't know how much he owns. But he has sold 50,000 and purchased none over this year. Not a single one. And he also sold 2,000 shares on the 9th of September. This year.
Like 9 days ago.
Yeah, 9 days ago. 3 days prior to this announcement, or 4 days prior to this announcement, I think.
Oh.
And that's finance.
Okay. Wow.
Do with that what you will. I will make no legal assertions about anything.
That seems not great.
Perhaps nebulous.
Yes. Perhaps
dubious.
Yes, dubious. Perhaps warranting further investigation.
One would assume he had some information of the inside of that company prior to his trading.
Yes, exactly. Yes. I mean, I'm not sure if there's any laws around that or not. That's tricky.
I wouldn't know.
Maybe in California.
I'm not a lawyer. Like, I don't know.
I'm definitely not a California lawyer.
No. I'm not super familiar with many laws in California about trading companies and people inside of companies trading stocks when they know information. There's only one that I can sort of think about, which is there was a company in like the 80s and 90s called Enron. I'm not sure if you know a lot about them, but
I don't.
Oh, okay. Well, they're
did they get prosecuted for something?
They're what we call like a legal precedent.
Oh.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if Jeff Skilling is still in prison or if he's released at this point. But I know that
have called it like outside share swapping or something.
Yeah, I'm just not sure.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Okay, this company was based in Texas.
Such a weird bit.
This company was based in Texas, Enron, but I know that they did trade California energy a lot. Have you heard of the California rolling blackouts, Kerry?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, they caused that.
Some further reading for me then.
There's a movie I can send you. It's really good.
There's a point you mentioned just before that I want to bring up now as well. You mentioned how these developers are pivoting.
Yeah.
They're picking up Godot. They're picking up Unreal. This announcement is coming off the back of Unreal announcing some very developer positive initiatives. Very generous, well, in the grand scheme of things, more generous revenue splits, some like first game programs, right? That like means they don't have to pay publishing fees for X number of months or something, like really outright actively positive things. Again, the kind of things that it's like Epic's probably losing money on that, but they're gaining goodwill, they're gaining a user base, like and they've already got a great user base in the enterprise industry. So they're already starting to come for Unity's slice of the pie in terms of that beginner 3D engine market, to come up with ways to make it more approachable, to come up with ways to make it more enticing for an audience that is maybe a little on the more amateur to indie to startup side of things. And it's just a no-brainer now. Like, if I heard this news and I was still studying, that day I would be installing Unreal Engine 5.
Yeah, like the on top of all of this, the things that Unity have been focusing on the past year is like shit like AI. Like, they have been going the exact opposite direction that people want them to go in, that they should be going in,
that like the industry wants.
And you know, the head of the company is been a gaming company executive for quite a while. He used to be the head of EA for a spell there. While he was the head of EA, he's been quoted to say on investor meetings, and the audio is out there on YouTube. You can still listen to it. The only version of the audio that you can listen to that I'm about to talk about has got the Darth Sidious music playing over it. I legitimately couldn't find one without it. Because that's the only edit that's out there that people keep resharing. But he's
that's funny.
He was suggesting that, you know, when you're playing a video game for 6 hours, you're a lot more you're a lot more inclined to spend money when you've been gaming for 6 hours. So
right, like you're numb to the spending.
So we should start charging people who are playing Battlefield $1 to reload their weapon, is what he said on an investor call.
Right, because they won't notice, and then they'll make bank.
Because they won't notice, and they can make bank. Even then, after that, when he came into running Unity, he has been quoted to call developers some of the biggest fucking idiots. That's a quote. Right.
After some other Unity backlash, wasn't it? Like 2 or 3 years ago?
He was referencing studios that don't make dramatic capitalization on microtransactions, saying that's what he was saying, as if that's the only way to do it.
Yep.
Moron.
Yep.
Anyway,
yeah, it's been fascinating to watch them implode when no one forced them to.
And
that is what in tennis we call an unforced error.
And it's so sad, right? Like this is the end of Unity for many people.
Yeah.
For people who have been using Unity for decades. Like this is such an instant like eject button.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. And it, like you said, it has kind of been foreshadowed with the talk about AI, how much they're prioritizing initiatives like that for their future developments in the engine and stuff like that. It's not necessarily that out of character, that surprising.
Yeah.
What is surprising is just how fucking bad it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Regardless of like the mentality and what they're focusing on and prioritizing all of that, it's just so fucking bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
I will be fascinated to see how far they backpedal. I'll be fascinated to see what the long-term reports are for how much this damages them. There's so much I want to see going forward on this. Like maybe it's not going to hit them as hard as we think, but it is going to hit them. Like this is going to be a problem. Like, it's that kind of thing of like with our current, if we didn't lose any install base, we should make another 20% off of each user on the platform. They're like, okay, well, how high can we make how gross can we make this that we start losing customers, but not enough customers that percentage of like how much more money you make is still positive, Like,
yeah. And
I wonder if they did that math. They did those maths and it showed them that they thought they were going to lose some and it was still going to be profitable for them in the long run. I can't see that this amount of backlash though is going to, and this much uncertainty and everything we've just discussed is going to balance out in a way that is positive for them. I just can't see it.
So I've got another potential hypothetical for you. It's all a part of a master grand plan.
Yes. I did hear something like this. Please go on.
That is, they make error after error after error. The stock price gets driven down. I've got it so according to the market summary on the homepage of Google when you search Unity stock price, in the year to date. Oh no, sorry, not year to date. Over the past 12 months, year to date it's actually up 34%, which is interesting.
That is interesting.
In the past 12 months, it's down 1%.
Okay.
In the past 5 years, it's down 46%.
So basically, since we stopped using it.
Sorry. That's past 5 years. Sorry. Let me re-say that because I now remember why that this looks so much worse than what it is. They've actually only been public since 2020. So if the 5 year button that's on the homepage of Google is an inaccurate button.
It's erroneous.
Yeah.
Okay.
Since they went public, they initially were trading at 68 cents. That was their public price. For IPO. When they are trading at 36 cents.
Ooh. That's not good, right? Companies trading below their opening price? That seems bad. No, but like, sorry, I don't know whether companies typically like open at a certain price and it goes down and then they build from there, like whether the opening price becomes like a number that they completely disregard or not.
I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at
No,
I'm laughing at the sentence like they
that's bad.
Yeah, like they're down 46% in 3 years. Like, is that bad? Just like the raising your hand, like Homer Simpson. Is that good?
I have a question.
At the end of the year, if they hover around there, do they shop themselves around? Are they leaning up?
Why would they do that? Why wouldn't they try to sell for a higher price? All right, or would they be selling for too high a price and not
Well,
bought them?
because people want to buy them on the cheap. That you sell off a bunch of stuff, you bring your price down, you make yourself look appetizing, so you can get bought, so that your president, your CEO, who is in this case the same person, gets then a 2-year contract to say, all right, we'll keep you on for 2 years, and then we'll revisit that, and then at the end of that, you'll get a payout because
you get a golden parachute.
Because any time a company gets bought by another company, they give the CEO 2 years as a contract, which is kind of like a little like, yeah, you did it, mate. They keep you paying, and then at the end of it, everybody goes, all right, it's time for you to move on. And the person goes, it is time for me to step aside. Everyone looks like a hero. They get a giant payout, and someone else gets to own them. That's how it works.
If that is their intention, I find that
we're
so
speculating,
disgusting.
by the way. We are definitely speculating. Continue.
Oh, absolutely.
I just want to make that very clear.
Basically hypothetical at this point.
Yeah.
Pardon me. If that was their intention for something like that to happen, that would be such a flagrant disregard. It would show such a flagrant disregard for the thousands of lives that those decisions affect. Not just their thousands of employees, of which they have thousands, not just the many, many studios, but also all of their employees and all of the developers who have spent that time training up for what will essentially become an engine that no one wants to touch anymore, a poison chalice.
Well, but then the company that buys them, right? The company that comes in and purchases.
Oh, they can rehabilitate, sure, but that will take years, Jeremy.
Well, but like there's something to be said about fresh owners undoing the bad decisions, coming in and saying, "Hey, all those decisions, they're gone. They're retroactively gone. You don't have to worry about it. Come back in open arms. Remember the unity you know and love." You got to admit, like 10 years of being in a program, there's something to that to be excited about, to say like, I can go back to the thing that I know.
While I agree, like what we're talking about is we know the sales process for a company being sold off like this. It takes months of shopping around. It takes weeks then to confirm with a single person or a single other entity. And then it takes more months, sometimes years, to actually finalize the sale, at which point, like you said, the CEO of the company is probably going to remain as the CEO for at least 2 years. It's going to take years for any kind of change to really funnel through and permeate that brand. And if the company that did buy it did like suddenly revert it, that kind of looks bad on them in a way, because they're like, we bought this thing that we think wasn't doing well, so we could completely change it.
But
like,
have you considered it would make them a lot of money?
I guess I haven't.
Because they can look at that.
I don't know what's worse, honestly, them doing this on purpose or them doing this accidentally, like incidentally, or both. Like one factor, like parts of one and parts of another. Like it's just bad. It's so bad, Jeremy.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
You know, it's bad when my arms are up above my head.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like Kermit over here. Oh. Well, have you got any other nuggets there for us, Jeremy?
No, not really.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I'm going to be fascinated to see how this story develops over the coming months.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll see.
I'm curious because, like, I know that here's a nugget. I know that there was planned to be a Unity town hall a couple of days after this announcement, which got cancelled.
Really?
Yeah, like it got like completely like we are canceling this, postponing this. I'm like, we've got Games Week coming up in Melbourne.
Yep.
Melbourne International Games Week is coming up, and like Unity are there, like they're always there. Like I'm curious. Just
as the engine individually.
Well, both, right? Like there's Unity reps in Australia. Australia is probably one of Unity's biggest markets.
Yep.
And on top of that, like in the past, Unity has sponsored events, whether it be parties or industry days or
award shows.
Yeah, stuff like that. Like they're around.
Yep.
they've been sponsors of local scene events. You got to wonder just what the vibe is. I'm gonna guess.
I can tell you what most people will feel is the vibe right now is bad.
Pretty fucking rancid.
All right. Well, with that said, we're going to toss it to a break now. When we come back, we're going to go over the Nintendo Direct and Sony State of Play that happened last week. It'll be a fun palate cleanser. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the MiniMapCast. We've just come back from the break where we learned that Jeremy's least favorite food is cantaloupe, and also that he can fit his entire iPhone Pro Max into his mouth.
Have you seen? I know you haven't seen the movie.
Not the entire phone, but you could fit
the width
a third
of
it in at once.
Yeah. I know you haven't seen that movie, but have you seen the screenshot of the frame of A Clockwork Orange where Alex's eyes are like strapped open by like metal machinery?
Yeah, I know it vaguely, yeah.
Like that with my mouth, like I'm fine.
What does that mean?
Like if someone
what does that mean?
If someone were to do
your mouth and you're fine.
Like if someone were to do that to my mouth,
yeah,
I'd be fine. Like I wouldn't have any issues.
You know, people do that at like the orthodontist, right? Like that's just a normal thing. Like they have tools that will literally do what you're doing with your hands there. Like, open your mouth like that.
I have always had quite an elastic face.
Go on.
That's it. Like, there's a lot of my face that you can pull for quite a while.
That is quite elastic. You're right.
Yeah.
I don't think I could do that.
It's always
like,
been.
I can't really stretch on this. Like you're pulling on yours. Like that hurts for me.
I think my family genes. They're quite
like a frilled neck lizard.
They're quite jowly. A lot of my family members, and so I will get that. I will get like a sag in my jaw as I turn into an old man.
A number of chins.
Not many chins. It's
just jowls.
Just the sag of the whole jaw.
Just some like Nixon cheeks.
Yeah, but not like big, just down. Because Nixon cheeks are like big and down. Whereas just
I think he had a bit of extra weight on him as well, like compared to you, as well as quite jowly.
Kinda, yeah. He was very skinny in some parts of his body, and carried a bit of weight in others. He's a very odd looking man, Richard Nixon.
I can't believe you know that.
Yeah, well, like I've always been fascinated by him because I think that
his body shape.
Well, like genuinely, because like I'm so familiar with like characterizations of him that when I see like interviews of him, or if I see clips of him and stuff, like he doesn't feel like a real person. This is what we're talking about before when talking about like when someone dies, it's like an event. Like Nixon is such an important character to like American history. Yeah. But also doesn't like he feels like a larger than life. Like
a fictional character.
Yeah, he feels like a cartoon
like
character.
The Terminator or
like Trump. Like he's so close to Trump in that way.
Sam, when you were messing with your face in chat, said, "What the fuck? You have like the mask face."
So Jim Carrey's elasticity was a thing that I wanted to have as a child. I used to look at
Jim Carrey like augmented by ILM's face elasticity.
Well, no, because he can just transform his like he can turn his face into Clint Eastwood's face just by like pulling it, and it's like, but like as in just pulling a face, and it's uncanny. It is truly bizarre.
I need to see that. That sounds amazing.
Yeah, it's when Carrey was young, doing stand up.
Sorry, I thought you said Carrey.
Sorry. It's when Jim Carrey was young.
That's the only way I could tell people who have an American accent what my name actually is. It's
Carrey.
Like, oh, it's not Carey. It's Carey.
Yeah.
And well, actually, no. That just confuses them.
Yeah. You gotta say
that was very funny that it happened then.
Not like Jim or Drew.
Like me.
Yeah, like you. Carrey like you.
I say like O'Brien.
They won't know who that is.
No, they never do. Not even Packer. Not even Kerry Packer. No, they don't get it.
I remember when we first got access to Bard, which is the Google's version of ChatGPT at work. I told her to tell me, what do you know about MiniMap? And so it pulled information being like, like what the website is from our About page and who's linked and stuff. And it said, MiniMap is a video games publication run by Jeremy Braditich and Kerry O'Brien.
Oh, that's right. I forgot that. I wish. I wish I was Kerry O'Brien.
So funny. I've got one of his books. Turns out
he's great.
Hell of a fucking writer.
I would love to be a journalist of his integrity to the point that I was offered an award and then I could turn it down from an ethical point of view.
Yeah, no, he's good. He's really good.
He's amazing.
Yeah.
Like he was a mainstay in our house. We were a very ABC household.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Same.
And it was like, oh, he's a Kerry. That's cool. But yeah,
to us. And to a lot of people, but to us, he will be one that when he dies, we'll be like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, and my niece and nephew will say,
who's that? Yeah.
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 Anyway, hey, this is just in case you forgot, this is a podcast about video games. Hey, we're going to talk about some. Last week, there were rumors about both of these things happening, but what we didn't know would happen is that both of these showcases would happen literally within 7 hours of each other. Like the Nintendo Direct happened at 12 a.m. our time, and then the Sony State of Play happened, PlayStation State of Play happened at 7 a.m. our time that morning.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know what they were doing, whether they coordinated that or didn't coordinate it. It's really weird. But what we're going to do, Jeremy and I are on opposite sides of the fence here in terms of which was the better conference. So I think maybe that should be part of the discussion here. Maybe once we, I don't know, when would we do that? We'd have to get through both of them first.
Yeah, we'll go through one, we'll go through the other, we'll talk about them holistically, and then we'll do like a quick comparison.
And then we'll break it down. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do, we'll break it down in the order that they came out. So we'll talk about the Nintendo Direct first. I'll go through, I've grabbed 8 of each of the most noteworthy things that I just felt were the most noteworthy. There were a couple of new games announced that like are unknown quantities I didn't care much about, like Unicorn Overlord. I thought it's a weird name and it didn't really grab me, but whatever. That's not there, but there's plenty of other stuff. So the big stuff's here. We'll go over that, and then we'll pick our top 1 or 2 things that we were excited for the most from each one. So starting with Nintendo, the things they announced, at the very end of the show, we got an announcement that Paper Mario: The 1,000-Year Door HD is coming in 2024. That's the Paper Mario game from the GameCube, which is fascinating. They've remastered one Mario RPG before with the Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga, which was the first one they made on GBA. They remastered it for 3DS. I really want to play that actually. And they gave it like a second, like a Bowser story expansion.
Bowser's Inside Story, I think is what it was called.
No, that was another game. That was another
that's right.
RPG
Yeah, that was a different
way.
game. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was something like that at the end of the remaster. So it's interesting seeing a remaster of a classic RPG, not the first one on N64, but the one that is most like a sequel to the first one that we never got again, which was 1,000-Year Door, which everyone who has played it absolutely adores. Like the people who love this game don't shut up about 1,000-Year Door, and I'm very excited to give it a go.
Yeah, me too. And it's like, looks like they've done a lot of work on it as well. Like
it looks really good.
They've like sort of like ground up remade it. It seems.
Yeah, like full like new lighting, and all the texture work is up to par. It looks great. It's all
Funny
texture
voices.
work because it's all 2D and it's all like crude 3D shapes.
Well, like it's a 3D game. It's
yeah, no, it is, but it's not like there are that many 3D meshes of like characters. Like there are 3D environments and that's kind of it.
Yeah, and
a few enemies.
Yeah, but like they've even changed the style of the 2D characters to closer resemble Origami King, from what I can tell.
Oh,
interesting. Not dramatically, but
just kind of in like an up-res kind of gets it closer to that. Like anyway,
I think that they're trying to make the Paper Mario franchise seem a little bit more cohesive than it's ever actually been. Which is that's fine. They've removed Mario's legs is basically what I can tell. Because he had extremely short legs, and now he has none.
Oh, it's just like his body goes onto his feet.
Yeah. Yep.
And his feet just like
They
flip
waddle.
up and down.
Yeah, they waddle.
So that's very cute, and
yeah.
that's pretty exciting. I am glad that is being modernized because it was just stuck on GameCube.
Yeah,
like,
totally.
No,
well, stuck on Wii.
ifs ands about it, you know.
Yeah, like stuck on Wii, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, but you couldn't buy it digitally, and I mean you can't now anyway. But like, you know, you never could with that one. So yeah. Speaking of remakes, they also announced something I never thought we'd see, which is the Mario vs. Donkey Kong remake. Which was the original Game Boy Advance game, which you and I were talking about, I want to say a month or two ago on the show.
No, it was more recent than that. It was actually last week because
what?
Because this direct was like all but leaked recently.
Oh yeah, no, that's right. Like you did mention that with the leaks. I feel like we spoke about it a month or two ago though, because I remember you telling me about the old ones and how they're much more different to the first ones. Maybe when they announced GBA coming to the system.
Maybe I don't super remember that. Because to me, they're kind of all the same game, but maybe.
Well, that's the thing. That's what we found out when we spoke about it. They're all very different. Like they're not all like because you were saying the one that you really liked was more like Lemmings, right? Which
like
this game isn't. The first Mario vs. Donkey Kong game, this one that they're remaking from GBA, is not a Lemmings game.
No, but it's still you still have little guys that run around.
You don't control them. No, you collect them. They're the end goal. You are Mario in this game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, anyway. like you were Mario in the one that I played as well, but the Lemmings were also there.
No, but you're only Mario.
Yeah, but like in this one, it's like, yeah, right, okay, right, gotcha. I'm more understanding what you were saying now.
Yeah.
It looks.
So it's a puzzle game.
It looks really good.
It does look really good. That game was an excellent puzzle game 20 years ago, and I think it'll be an excellent puzzle game today. But it's going to have a 2-player co-op mode, which is interesting. I don't know how that will work really.
It'll be little brother kind of like, you know.
Yeah, classic Mario co-op stuff.
Yeah.
They shadow dropped a new 99 game, F-Zero 99, which is fascinating. We were talking about F-Zero last week. We were talking about the entries it's had in the series and how long it's been. There's a new one. It's F-Zero 99.
It's back in Pog form. Remember F-Zero? Yeah, that's funny. I haven't played it. I meant to play it before the podcast, but I just didn't get around to actually installing it.
I've watched about an hour of Northern Lion play it. It looks interesting. It looks fun. Absolutely hectic, but it's the kind of thing that now I've seen 99 player F-Zero. It kind of seems like a really good fit, and like 12 player F-Zero would just be so sparse by comparison. Yeah, give that a go if you've got online. It looks like okay fun.
Yeah.
We saw a lot more about the new standalone Princess Peach game. It's called Princess Peach Showtime. Has a release date. Oh, and yeah, Mario vs. Donkey Kong is coming out Feb 16. Princess Peach Showtime is coming out March 22nd, 2024, both of those. So yeah, we saw a whole bunch of things. It's about the game's about she's in a play, and then something magic wizard, evil wizard, and then she has to get through these play scenarios and defeat all the evil. Then she can change her outfits, and she becomes like a musketeer or a this or a that, and that's the game. A lot of people are really buzzing for this one.
Yeah.
I found the reveal a bit disappointing, personally.
Oh, really? I thought it looked really fun.
I mean, it does look fun, but I saw that as like why couldn't Peach just actually go fight a wizard? We don't need this artifice of she's doing dress-ups and it's a theater, and it's like it kind of strikes me as like she couldn't handle a real-world version of this where like Mario could. Like those were the lines that I read between, I guess. And it just kind of like I'm sure it will be fun and be fine, but I saw that and I'm like,
Like that's a fair criticism. I always felt that they were all always, I mean, like it's the Mario thing of like it's always been a stage play kind of thing.
Yeah, like that's the whole theming of Mario 3, right? So like it's not completely out of pocket, but in terms of modern Mario it is. So yeah, like it's a bit of a pros and cons, and it's fine, but there. I hope it's great. I hope it's fun.
Yeah,
it does look fun.
I'm pretty excited for this. I think it looks like a lot of fun, and I also think that like these games kind of occupy the same space in my brain as like some of the modern like Kirby games and stuff, or like Toad Tracker, where it's like I'm not going to be like intensely challenged by this, and I'm not going to play this game and find like a new meaning to the word like game design,
Yeah.
but like
Or discover a new genre. Or
yeah,
whatever. Yeah.
but like it'll still be great.
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
you know, like it's got the you know, the Nintendo Touch. It's got the like all like it'll come together as like a fully realized thing that like you could look at and you go, yep, they kind of 100% executed on this.
Yep. Yep. It'll be fun. It'll be tight. It'll make you smile.
Yeah.
And sometimes that could be a high bar sometimes, and it's nice when it gets cleared.
Yeah, the amount of games I've played this year that did not make me smile.
Don't even get me started on
Starfield.
no, I like that game. Hey, the next thing they spoke about, they announced the Tomb Raider 1, 2, and 3 remasters coming out Valentine's Day 2024, Feb 14. This was interesting. It's the like not too much to this, but it's probably the only way I would play these games because I really don't like the old versions of these. I think they'll play very similarly. Like it's just like an up-res.
They will play identical.
Yeah, and that's my biggest problem with those games is how they feel because they are so early 3D in like a no one knows how to make this fun kind of a way.
Yeah, yeah.
But it was nice to see this sort of up-res in a really unique way. You know, they didn't change the like model density of everything, so a lot of environments are still just like a total of like 16 like polygons.
Yeah, like,
you know, like faces and corners.
Yeah, they've remastered it, not like remade it.
Yeah, exactly.
But
and I think it's honestly a really good design choice for it.
Well, because like they also include the button where you can swap to the new and old graphics on the fly,
yes.
Which is to me just like it's not like a necessity, but like I literally always appreciate it. Like
yes.
any time I see it in a video game, I'm like, I give you the thumbs up for having the confidence in your art style that you would hope that people will want to visit the new one, while also saying to them, if you really want to go back to the old one, you can. It's here.
Mm-hmm.
You know, obviously,
and a lot of people will because that's an iconic set of games.
Yeah. It's you know, the gold standard for that is, you know, like Halo does that, for example, and it's so good in that.
It's not many games that do it.
No, it requires a bit of, I think, humility that perhaps not every game. Like, look, it requires two things. It requires humility in saying that like people will love your art style. Here's a direct comparison with the new one and the old one, and also here's the old one if you want it. But it also requires you to run on the previous engine.
Yeah.
Which if they're remaking the game, then obviously they can't do that. They can't do that for like Final Fantasy or Demon Souls. But they could have in some instances in some games that I think they made a worse art style when they redid it, but they didn't include the new version. So they didn't include the old version, like Grand Theft Auto, for example.
Right. Could you imagine if they had included that button in Final Fantasy VII Remake? Like you press that button and it's like a hard, like you just warp back 25 years. And like, if you play too much in the old version of the game, you skip like a third of Remake's content in an hour. That would be so funny.
Well, it's kind of like how you can play as original Lara Croft in the modern Tomb Raiders.
Oh, like low poly.
Yeah, but with modern lighting.
Yep. And environments and literally everything. Yeah. Next up, they showed off Splatoon 3's next expansions, part of their expansion pass, Side Order. Looks to be a bit of a roguelike mode where you go through and you unlock various modifiers and power-ups, and then you can use that to tweak how you go into a run, and it's repeatable and like wave-based. Looks cool, very like kind of white, chromey kind of color, and then the way your ink colors are turned by your modifiers that changes each run. So that looks fun. People were vibing this one.
Splatoon, the final shape.
Yeah, I also saw people refer to it as Nier, very similar to Nier. But I think only in aesthetic and nothing else. A quick one here. Trombone Champ was announced to be coming to the system. It has motion controls as well as IR controls, which is great. So you could hold the right Joy-Con like on your shoulder and use your other hand like a slide pretty effectively. It also has 4-player co-op though, which I don't know if Trombone Champ has had before, but they showed that off, and I was so smitten with the idea. It seems absolutely hilarious.
Have you played that game?
No, I haven't.
Right.
I haven't. I saw like 10 minutes of video on it, and I was like, I need to leave this alone and forget it happened, so I can come back to it and have the best time when I come back to it.
Yeah, it's funny. It's one of those games where like you don't want to get good at it because getting good at that game is boring.
Yeah.
Because it's just hearing a trombone.
Yep, and like not a great trombone.
Yeah. It's not like Guitar Hero where it's impressive.
Yeah, no, the joy of that game is messing it up and how imprecise it is. Yeah. And the final thing I've got down here is we saw another trailer for WarioWare Move It. I don't think this was the release date announcement, but they were talking about how they've got 200 games and all their different poses, and it's coming out November 3rd, so that's in like less than 2 months.
Yeah.
This looks like a return to the WarioWare that I love, which is the original Game Boy Advance WarioWare, and then the WarioWare, whatever it was called on Wii, the Wii one. That one was amazing.
Yeah.
I love both of those. And the Wii one was so silly. You had like the elephant stance where you had to put the Wii remote on your nose, and the umbrella stance, or you use that for like slicing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
This is doing that, but with broader gyro motion controls, and it's all about your entire body, like having to like dance like a bunny or something like that. Like they're really going all out with it, and it looks so silly and so fun.
I'm
Perfect
so excited
party
for this game. I'm so fucking excited for a good new WarioWare.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it looks really good.
Yeah, I like this may be one I just insta buy. It's like I just want this. I need to have this.
Like honestly, like I'm looking at because like okay, so like holistically, like there's a lot of now to this is like a 6-month direct, right? This is like here's a lot of our stuff that's coming out between now and like late March.
Well, yeah, this is that was exactly right. This showed us what they're doing for the end of the year and the start of next year, with a couple of teasers for 2024. So maybe a couple of things heading into the middle of the year.
Yeah, Paper Mario Thousand Year Door, for example, only having 2024. I think that
and Splatoon 3 side order.
Yeah,
similar time.
Well, specifically Paper Mario. That game came out in 2004.
Yeah.
Specifically, that game came out in July of 2004. Okay. Good chance they'll try and hit that 10-year. Sorry, the 20-year anniversary. Like it's. I know I did it again. I did it in the TikTok that I made, and I did it again. I don't know how to count. Yeah, like I think that like there's a good chance that's going to be.
I mean, why wouldn't you?
Why wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Interestingly, people have looked at that trailer and have kind of put together that game. It looks good, but it's running at 30.
Okay.
Whereas the original ran at 60.
Oh.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
New hardware launch game?
Oh, maybe they were showing it on Switch 1. Maybe it runs better on Switch 2.
Who knows? Very speculative. Very speculative.
I mean, that's not a heavy hitter. You know what I mean? Like that's maybe a good cross-gen game, but they'll need something else on Switch 2 to sell it.
Sure.
A remake of the GameCube Paper Mario game won't convince people who already have a Switch to go and get the new one.
No,
not many of them.
No, I guess, but also like, yeah, it's interesting. There's a conversation.
That's a good like sweetener, That's a good like, oh, if you've got one as well, they came out with this cross-generation game. It plays better. People say great things about it. You can get it on the old Switch, but it looks even better on the new one. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I'm curious. Maybe there's another discussion topic for us about like who is the next Switch for. But like maybe we'll shelve that one.
You are right though. Definitely, we're looking at the like, they had Luigi's Mansion 2 in here. We're looking down the barrel of a new Detective Pikachu game. It feels like the end of the 3DS, but it's the end of the Switch.
Kinda. Like I think that like there's some good stuff here. Like I think that like like they didn't show Mario Wonder. That game is coming out in a couple months as well. But
we just got a solo direct for it too.
Yeah, and people are getting hands on. Like we're gonna get hands on that at PAX. It's gonna be a TGS. Tokyo Game Show. Like people are gonna play that game. like the F-099 is just like, here's one for you right now.
You do look at the list here though. Like the most exciting things here, we've got a WarioWare Move It, okay. Princess Peach Showtime, it's not coming for a little bit. Mario vs. Donkey Kong remake, and Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door, and it's the furthest away. Like it's such a
well, like it's a Super Mario RPG was there as well, which is November.
True, that is soon as well. And I left out the things that were like known quantities.
Yeah, and I think like the known quantities they didn't need to focus on as much because they're kind of actually quite soon.
Yes.
But I think that like overall this was the end of the Switch Direct, but also like here's the stuff that's going to sort of start coming around early next year. You're going to get some of these games that are going to perhaps maybe get like a boost for a next piece of hardware. Which we're not announcing yet. But here's some stuff to tide you over, but they're still
some fan favorites.
But they're still gonna be good is the thing. These aren't dregs. Right? Like the end of the 3DS was dregs.
Dregs. So I thought you said drakes. I'm like
Drakes.
What? Drake's Fortune?
Drakes.
Deception?
No, like Little Dragon. No. Like
yeah, they're not dregs. No, you're right. Like these are still good games.
Yeah,
it's just not.
The end of the 3DS was dregs, and this year we still got like Metroid Prime and Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah, Pikmin 4, Pikmin 1 and 2.
Yeah, and
we're getting Mario Wonder.
We have the greatest Mario Kart already on the system. We're getting more of that Mario Kart still coming. Yep. And
last one, they spoke about it at this one. It's the last wave is finally here.
Yeah. As well as like the greatest Smash Brothers game.
Yep.
Like it's
I mean the Switch's library is maybe unparalleled in terms of other Nintendo systems.
But they were pushing the post-release content for those games out all the way until basically the end of this system. Like Smash not as much. Smash was like a year off.
It was such an early game though, and it went for like 3 years post-release.
Yeah, and we're only now just getting the final amiibo for it.
Yeah,
like they're still talking about it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, it's funny. If you had to pick one or two of your favorite things from this Direct, what would they be, Jeremy?
I'm really excited for Mario vs. Donkey Kong.
Yep.
And I'm really excited for WarioWare. Both of those. Yeah. I think they're just both going to be so fucking fun. Yep. I've not played Thousand Year Door. I'm excited to play it, but I don't have that level of excitement for it just because I just don't super know it that well. And like I'm excited for Peach as well. I think that'll be fun. One we didn't mention, which is maybe more excited than most of those, is Prince of Persia. But that's like a very known quantity because it's Ubisoft game and it's coming out early Feb.
That showed really well. They had a great trailer there. It looked amazing.
I'm so fucking good.
Still continually looking forward to that game.
Yeah, it just like, it'll tide me over until Silksong, that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless they shadow drop it at PAX, which you keep thinking they're going to do.
I don't think that they're going to do it. I'm hoping they're going to do it. There's a very big difference.
Blind optimism.
Look, PAX is the last time we played that game. PAX is the only time we played that game.
Yeah, that was also pre-pandemic.
I know, but we played it.
Oh, cool.
It was there.
If I had to pick things from this list for the things I am looking forward to the most, for me, it's probably Thousand Year Door and then WarioWare Move It. For me, Thousand Year Door, I never played it. I never got anywhere near playing it. Like that trailer was probably the most I've ever seen of that game. But from what I understand, it is very close to a direct sequel of the original Paper Mario in terms of mechanics and setting and style, which the subsequent Paper Mario games were all a very distinct, huge departure from that original style set by the N64 and GameCube games. And as someone who played a lot of hours of the N64 game, I never beat it, but a lot of hours on the N64 game as a youngster, and then later on the Wii, and then I want to give it a bit more time on NSO. I really enjoy that original style of Mario RPG. That I mean, yeah, it's charming in such a fun way. And you know, I played Super Paper Mario, the one on Wii, and that was such a departure.
Yeah,
like I never finished that game. Like, and I liked it, but it wasn't this. So
Origami King as well.
Refined version of the one that I really enjoy, I'm very much looking forward to.
Origami King as well, like another, like an additional departure, and also one that I didn't finish.
Yeah, exactly. And that was one where they had a few like ones that were a bit lower than that in the middle. But Origami King was sort of a bit better, but it's so different. They had that like octagonal combat wheel thing, and it's like that's not what I want. I want the like turn-based like Final Fantasy combat with the real-time button presses to make your ability stronger. Like that's fun. Like that's a great foundation. Let's go from there.
Yeah.
So yeah. But that was not all for the announcements. That's only half of the presentations that we got that day. Here's the second half. It was the PlayStation State of Play 7 hours later.
Yeah.
What a weird fucking thing. Yeah, so I'm just going to do what we did before, and we'll go top down, sort of most noteworthy to least, missing out a few things here. Top of the pops here. We've got Final Fantasy VII Rebirth got a new trailer and a release date announcement for February 29th. That's right, the leap day of the leap year of 2024. Not many games can say they've released on February 29th, so that's fun.
Banger.
The trailer fucking rips.
Yeah,
and I'm so excited. And I saw a what are they called on Blue Sky that just post something? I saw a post from Imran Khan. A Zeet, talking about, he said a lot of that trailer was a lot of, oh, I recognize this, which means I can't wait to see all of the batshit crazy stuff that they haven't shown off in that game yet. I'm like,
yep.
Yes, Imran. Yes, it's so exciting. I'm just so excited. They showed off, there's a collector's edition that looks like it's not coming to Australia, which makes me really sad. I hope there's an announcement in the next couple of weeks, but I at least wanted to consider it before not purchasing it, you know? And now I can't even do that. And now I just think I want it. I'm not even giving myself the chance to realize that I don't.
Yeah.
I don't need a $600 statue of Sephiroth, you know?
Oh, but you want one.
I want one.
I
want one.
Yeah. And you'll have to import it.
Yeah. And if I didn't import it, it would still be $650.
Yeah.
Anyway, that trailer's amazing. Amazing. It looks so good. And the quality of the seeing it, it's going to be PS5, like next gen exclusive, well, the current gen now, like very good.
2 discs.
Yeah, 2 discs. I love that they're
two Ultra HD discs.
I love that they're promoting that. That's a good point. They're 2 larger disc formats. I didn't consider that.
That's fucked.
Yeah, it is.
It's going to be like
cool, though.
It's going to be like 150 gig.
Yeah, like Star Wars was.
I forgot that game was 150 gig.
Yeah, it was way too big. Next, they showed off Spider-Man 2. There wasn't necessarily that much here in terms of like news. What they gave us was a lot of, here's what the menus will be like. Here's what and it was very quick. It was like a gameplay overview.
Yeah.
And I felt the pacing of this was, it ruled. It was really surface level. It was very like glossing over it. It was like, everyone who's into this is already into it. Here's a bit more, and then we're out. Plus a bunch of new skins. This looked decent. This was another one where I was like looking at the quality of the game's like visuals and being quite astounded by it. I was like, oh, this looks really, really high quality. I really like the look of this.
Yeah, it like, it's funny. Like, I'm not saying it hasn't sold me because like I will purchase it.
You are already sold, but are you still in your middle? Like, I'm not sure about this.
Yeah.
Vibe.
Yeah. Like look, I went full nerd in to a part of it.
Oh, okay. Well, cool.
Because there's a part of it that is implications for a specific character in the Marvel universe.
Here we go.
That if they adapt, like I'll say the name of the character, because if you know, you know, if you don't, you don't. It's a character called Null. Knull. Adapting Null is so fucking weird.
Right.
If they do that, that would be cool as hell. I don't know if they will in this game. I think that might actually be a setup for a future
like a
title.
Tease, like one single side mission that's like maybe next time.
Well, like I think it'll genuinely, like, I think it's a setup for like a Venom game down the line.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah, because Null is
that sounds awesome.
Like, Null is intrinsic to that part of the Spider-Man mythos. So, like, and he also doesn't super work with this version of the Spider, and at least my what I have in my mind of Null, which they can change, he doesn't immediately fit in this world. He's a bit too big. It'd be like bringing in like not like Thanos, but like kind of like Thanos.
Oh, like he's a bit like Avengers level. He's
a bit cosmic.
Yeah. Okay.
He's not a friendly neighborhood villain. And he's a bit more ethereal than Venom or Kraven or Doc Ock or Green Goblin.
Scorpion,
yeah. He's a bit next level.
Right. A bit interstellar and a bit less Bronx.
Yes. Which is why I thought it was fucking fascinating that we got like a kind of overt tease of him in it. Which is
I mean, I'm
funny.
down. Maybe that's Venom's origin story for why he's there.
Yeah, like he's got strong links to Venom, so like I can see that being if we get a Venom game at some point.
Now, like from outer space, like superhero lands, like on Norman Osborn's terrace in his penthouse, walks inside, shakes Norman's hand, symbiote like
yeah,
like goes across,
yes,
and then he walks back out into the terrace and jumps up into the sky, and that's it.
So like I'm into it, but I'm not like, yes, I'm so excited for Spider-Man 2. I love Spider-Man 2. See how we go.
That's funny. We were when that game finished, when we were ready for the next one.
Yeah. Yep.
I hope they prove you wrong and surprise us and delight us.
Me too. I'm
Yeah, I know you're not against the game.
Spider-Man.
Yeah, no, I know you're not against the game.
Spider-Man.
Oh, there he is. I was like, it's a black screen.
Yeah, it was coming.
Next, they announced, they showed off Resident Evil 4 VR, coming for PSVR 2. I don't know if it's coming to other things. But then they almost immediately showed off Resident Evil 4 Separate Ways, which is new DLC for the Resident Evil 4 game that we got earlier this year. And it's out, as of the time of recording this, in 3 days. It's out on the 21st of September, and it's basically Ada Wong DLC. It's a stretch of the game where you play as Ada during the events of Resident Evil 4. I am so stoked. It looks very good. I don't know when I'm going to play it.
Yeah.
But it looks great.
Yeah, that's how I thought as well. Like, hell yeah, more Resident Evil 4. I don't immediately have time for this, but I hope one day I do.
Yeah, exactly. When will I do this? Don't ask me that question.
Yeah. Hopefully at some point soon. That would be great. But
yeah,
there's just too much right now.
Yes.
Oh well.
Jeremy, do we need to do a reset?
It's just the stream. Don't worry about it.
If it comes back, I'm getting a little bit of delay and funkiness on my end for you too.
Okay.
I think the audio is fine.
Yeah.
Usually you're like a second behind your audio.
Oh, okay. It's all good on my end.
Okay,
like your audio and video is totally fine. So,
all right, let's keep going then. The next they announced, get ready for this one, colors. New colors for the DualSense controllers and the PS5 faceplates. They're calling them the Deep Earth Collection. They're basically like a shiny, barely metallic version of a prime red and a prime blue and a silver color. This isn't like that noteworthy, except that it's good to point out that this is the first time they've done like just like proper prime colors instead of like a magenta and a cyan and a purple and a whatever. Like it's the first time they've just done like red and blue and silver, and I'm glad we've got those there.
Yeah, they look cool. One of like the silver one looks really cool. I'm keen for the silver one. I'm not going to buy them, but like they look cool.
Yeah, and they give off vibes of older PS2, PS3 era stuff. Like there have been silver PS2s and like I've traded in the like metallic red and metallic blue PS3 controllers. Like it is like a good nostalgic prime color that they picked. They didn't just pick like red and blue. They picked like good PlayStation red and blue.
What console did I say that were like? the other day? They're like the Game Boy SP. That's what they are. They are the Game Boy SP
the Game
colors.
Boy Advance SP.
When you Google Game Boy Advance SP, you get 3 images: a red one, a blue one, and a silver one.
And they're all metallic.
They're all metallic.
And they all fucking rule. Maybe that console may be the best of all time. Maybe.
The Game Boy Advance SP.
The Game Boy Advance SP.
Oof, okay. I'm just gonna I'll just let you sit with that one if you want. I'm
not calling it. I'm saying it is in the running.
Okay.
It is handily in the running, no doubt. Because the Advance has an incredible library. It had a backlight, rechargeable battery, was still backwards compatible with old Game Boy games. It had an awesome design. You could get awesome special edition designs on that one too. They had Legend of Zelda ones. I think they had like a tribal tattoo design, which is
the one with Mario when Mario's got the tribal tattoo. Have you seen that?
No.
I'm gonna get an image up for you.
Okay.
It's an incredible piece of old games advertising. Mario tribal tattoo.
Oh, is that literally what it was? For the SP, they gave Mario that tattoo to promote the SP.
Yes. Here we go.
Oh, that's like doubly appropriative. Goodness me.
If it's cool enough for Mario.
Wow. Nice Comic Sans font, Nintendo.
They sure don't make it like that anymore.
No, they don't. Wow. What is the name of it?
Tribal Edition.
Tribal Edition Game Boy Advance SP.
Yeah,
not great, although it was
not
cool
great
at
all.
Little 9-year-old me didn't know any better. And it did look cool.
Absolutely not. I will see your Game Boy Advance being the best console, and
Game Boy Advance SP specifically.
Okay, and I will raise you the Nintendo DS Lite because it has the entirety of the Game Boy Advance in it.
No, because we gotta separate. Well, no, I didn't though.
Yeah, you didn't.
No, like it's got to be like just a single dot point though. You know, like backwards compatible with that library, cool. But it can't just fully coattail off Game Boy Advance library. It's like this one wins because it.
But also the DS Lite.
Yeah, I never had one. I can't. I had a Chunky Boy.
It's an all timer.
I mean, I think the DS family is an all-timer.
Yeah, but like the DS Lite is the mainstay of the DS family. 3DS is like I think the next generation down. Like the child, whereas like the DSi didn't hit like the DS Lite did.
Yeah.
And the DS Lite became the Nintendo DS.
Yeah, but only because the DS did so well in the first place.
Sure, but like the DS Lite was like, you would get
better in every way.
Yeah, you would get commercials of people. Do you remember the commercials of people sitting on the couch, like playing it or whatever? Like they would get like Jamie Oliver to do like a cooking game, all that stuff. Remember, like they had Hamish Blake do a DS commercial.
I think you were more keyed into the TV commercials for the DS than I was. I got my DS and I stopped paying attention.
The DS discourse.
DS course.
DS course.
I just want to point out, because we had some stream issues just then. We've just gone live again.
Yeah, no,
Discord, we got hit with a notification, and the stream preview is you holding up the picture of Mario on your preview with the tattoo.
Yeah, no, we're back. There's a computer in my house that decided to download a copy of the movie Blue Beetle, which decided to tank my internet.
It's a virus. So next up, enough about the Game Boy Advance SP. Back to this PlayStation State of Play. They opened with more footage from Baby Steps, which is Bennett Foddy's new game. Looks like putting a bit of story slash a modicum of like narrative slash like gameplay pacing into a 3D environment, and also the mechanics of something frustrating like QWOP or Getting Over It, which are Bennett Foddy's games.
Yep.
It looks very funny with some very good Aussie humor.
Yeah.
The guy who is baby stepping runs into this Aussie hiker and is just like, oh, why don't you just grapple that why don't you just grapple that to keep going? And he's like, oh yeah, I'll do that. I'll grapple that. He's like, yeah, grapple that fucker. Like they opened with him saying fuck a bunch of times. He's like, oh yeah, I'll do that. I'll grapple that fucker.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then they stand there awkwardly, and then the hiker goes, all right, well, Salada. And grapples away. And I'm like, oh, the best use of the word Salada ever. Oh, it was so funny. That game looks just such good fun. I'm very excited.
It
for
looks
that. That's
really
coming
fucking good.
mid next year.
Yeah.
Foam Stars announced an open beta. It's coming in the next couple of weeks.
Yes.
It looked okay. PlayStation Splatoon.
Where are my foam stars at?
I don't know how to answer that question. It's not just PlayStation, is it? It'll be Xbox too.
Yeah, it's just Square Enix's.
Yeah.
Splatoon.
Square Splatoon. I mean, it looks okay.
I'm keen to give it a go.
Environments. Pardon?
I'm keen to give it a go.
Yeah, no, me too. I'm keen for it to be okay. I'm keen for it to have the chance to be okay. I think the environments they all look like the surroundings of each environment all look very samey, very black. You know what I mean? Like very like Black Road and all of that. And like it, like I want some of the environments to be a bit more different. But I wonder if they're going for that all black aesthetic for the foam to pop off against. Because it's not like Splatoon where you just paint the geometry. It's like the foam kind of makes geometry in the world, it looks like, where you kind of like stand on like extra land that the foam makes.
Yeah. Look, like I think I just kind of have the same opinion of it when I first saw it, which is like there's room for more of these, and I'm glad that they're kind of swinging in their own kind of direction.
Yeah,
and
totally.
they're not just completely doing Splatoon again.
Yes, agreed.
Because that would be not as good.
We saw a bit from Helldivers 2. I thought the gameplay from this looked a bit early. It looked a bit not great. I am excited for Helldivers 2 just generally because I think Arrowhead are quite good. But the reason I bring this up is because it was heavily rumored for a long time that they were going to launch in October. Yeah, and everyone was like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing? Get out of there. And so this announced they're launching Feb 8th, 2024. So I think that's a good place for that game to go.
Yeah, I wasn't amazingly impressed by this. I love the scale and the scope of it, but it just looks a bit rough around the edges.
Yeah, it looked a bit early to be showing us a demo like that, like frame drops and all of that. It looks promising, but like promising in that the first game was good, and I'm interested to see how it works. But yeah, it wasn't the best showing of this one.
Yeah,
I'm glad they got it out of October.
Yes. Yes, especially if they were planning on releasing it looking like that.
Yes. And then the last bit of noteworthy things I've got here, that something I would never have called is Tales of Arise got a new expansion announcement, which is coming out November 9th. November 9th this year, or at 2024. That's incorrect. 2023. So that's in less than a couple of months. This kind of blew me away because Tales of Arise really, people really liked it when that game came out, but it's been 2 years since that game released.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden there's an expansion coming in 6 weeks. You know what I mean? Like I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah, usually
Good
this is
for Tales of Arise fans.
Usually this is around the time they announce another one.
Yeah. Or like they would have announced this within a year or something. Like this is like, or they would have announced it like when they started development on it, like Shadows of the Erd Tree for Elden Ring.
Yeah. I don't know. Cool.
Totally.
From what I played of that game, I really liked it. I would like to go back one day.
Yeah, one day. One day when you don't have when you got nothing else to do with your the 80 hours.
Yeah, just fuck around and get all the way into Tales of Arise.
Yeah, totally. Jeremy, what are your 1 to 2 highlights of the show?
Bennett Foddy's game is probably my number one.
Number one above Final Fantasy.
Oh no, sorry, I forgot. Sorry, Final Fantasy is my number one. Bennett Foddy's number 2.
Yeah, mine's very much the same.
Yeah, like
with separate ways. Resident Evil 4 just below that.
Right. Yeah, they both look really good. It's fucking like Final Fantasy 7 Remake 2, whatever it's called, Rebirth 2. It feels real now.
Yeah.
And I love how the environments in that game look like those pre-rendered, like,
the backgrounds.
yeah, like, but they look like those pre-rendered backgrounds, but they look like those pre-rendered cutscenes that you would get attached to like the front and the end of a Final Fantasy, right? Like that,
Right.
that really,
Like it looks better than Advent Children.
yeah, but there's like a specific vibe of this that I'm trying to articulate. That's quite difficult because it's very specific. But the cutscene style back then, lighting was always quite harsh because it was a lot more basic.
But it was all very new.
But it was also, all the lighting was always done. Very rarely would you get a light that was just white. There was always a light that was it was always like a shade of a yellow for a sun, or like some orange. There was a lot of like
the green
sunsets.
of the like life force of the planet.
Yeah, but it was always incredibly harsh. And they've managed to weirdly recapture that feeling.
But without it looking completely dog shit.
Without it, probably, I don't think it ever looked dog shit was the thing. It just looked like a style. It looked like a like what they could do, like the best of what you could do at that point, which was don't try and make it look photorealistic, because photorealism isn't going to work yet. So go for this style. Go for this colorful, bright, vibrant scene with this style of animation that is rounded off edges, but when there's a sharp corner, it feels like brutally sharp.
Yeah.
The closest example that I can think of is towards the end of Final Fantasy VII, when you start to go through that gigantic climb and you look over the land and you see this like incredible
over the
sunset.
broken plate.
Yeah. And you see that sunset scene. That captures Final Fantasy VII to me more than any other part of that game. That is the point. That is the point in that game where I was like, oh, like not that I had any like cause for concern, but like I was like, no, like they so know what they are trying to evoke here. And then this trailer was fucking full of it.
Yeah, I don't know much of this. Like, I hadn't played the original before 7 remake, and I have seen footage of the original since playing remake, and so I have a bit of a frame of reference now for some of the locations, like the seaport, and playing Crisis Core as well, like the seaside town with that gigantic cannon. Like I've seen that in the original game, but seeing that location in the trailer was stunning in a way that like Horizon doesn't even look that good. Like Forbidden West doesn't look that good. You know, the way the foliage looks on the trees, you know, it's craggly, it's rocky, but it goes down to more brush into sort of a beachy kind of vibe. But it's quite tropical. There's waterfalls. But it's still harsh. There's still monsters nearby. It feels very, very, very well realized. And look, at this point, I suppose it should, right? Considering how many fucking times all of these locations have been designed and redesigned and revisited and remastered and redesigned again. But they're not, that it really feels like they're hitting. And I got really excited getting to see what these sort of other fan favorite characters that I've heard of and haven't had much time with because I haven't played this game yet, like Kate Sith and seeing Yuffie there, seeing her interacting with the squad, and getting that tease of Vincent right at the end, and seeing all of them together, and seeing Red 13 as playable, you know, and I'm like, oh my god, they're making all of them playable in this game, and they're all going to have their own sort of unique styling like they had in that first one. They're all going to be there from the first one, and like at least another 4 characters from what I could tell playable as well. It's like, it's starting to like boggle my brain a bit. And when they showed this trailer, they said, oh, there's 100 hours of content in this game. And like, I kind of believe it. I played the original for 100 hours. By the time I did one playthrough, New Game Plus on hard, and then did the optional combat challenge and then did the platinum, I guess.
Yeah.
and then I did the DLC. I got 100 hours plus on that game, so I'm not surprised to hear that. But if they're saying it's like 100 hours for one playthrough, I don't know what I'm gonna do.
But like, it also feels like it feels so authored. It feels so directed. Like all of the different like, you know, like cinematics, obviously, but even just the way the world is like sort of put together. There's a feeling of like, you're in this world, like here's where you're focusing on. Here's your goal over here. It's this giant structure nearby. You know the route that you're going to be taking, and the world is like designed in a way that it's going to guide you through these areas. And like
Remake did a good job of making the interstitials between places really engaging and fun.
Totally,
and
right?
Give you room for character moments as well. I hope they continue that.
And like coming out of 16, right? Like there are some really well directed cutscenes in 16, and there are some fucking uninteresting ones. There's a lot of like, we've got 6 actors in a room that are all talking to each other, and the camera's just kind of vaguely tracking around a room looking at whoever's there. Whereas
there's also a lot of like not using a lot of space that they have in between story moments, like with character growth. There's like a lot of like, I wish you characters would talk about this thing you haven't spoken about yet. Why are you ignoring this?
Yeah. Whereas like, you remember the conversations in Final Fantasy VII Remake. You know you're going to get similar conversations in this new one where like they're going to be talking about the shit that just happened because they're written like real people.
And they're gonna be talking about Cloud having these like episodes now. You know, like he's becoming more unreliable. His whatever the fuck happened to him is becoming more overt, and I can't wait to see what they do with that. Yeah. And I can't wait to see what they fucking do with Zack Fair in this game. I cannot wait. I love that we are getting multiple timeline Final Fantasy VII because it's so batshit, and it's going to be so fun to see if they try to keep different people alive, or if they try to go really hard like and change like time, like time travel, and they like can't break it in the end, and it's this whole like story moment. They have to let go of them anyway or something. It's rife for new character interactions that I'm very there for.
I hope Sora shows up.
Oh my god, shut up.
It could so happen. It's still within the realm of possibility is the thing.
That would make me so upset, especially if Sora shows up after a Disney character. I would throw my.
There's not going to be the Disney characters. It'll be Sora or no one. Like they don't like, you know, Disney.
I reckon they won't want to put Sora in there if there aren't Disney characters.
Look at Smash Brothers.
Oh.
like it's happened before.
Oh. All right, Jeremy, what did you think of this state of play overall?
It's fine. Like it was fine. Like it was like Final Fantasy stuff was cool. Cool to get more baby steps. I don't know. Like I still think that it could have been an email. Like there was a lot of stuff in there that was like really kind of like just like not immediately impressing.
See, it's funny because I feel that way about Nintendo's one, but I really enjoyed this state of play, especially considering how lackluster they have been in recent years. Like the states of plays have been worse than this across the board.
So some of them, yeah, but like I don't like. I think like I just kind of like bundle this in with like it's another one. Like there was
really
like, and I think part of it is because like what they showed here, like on paper, is kind of interesting, but I'm still not immediately hyped for Spider-Man. Resident Evil 4 DLC is like cool, but like I've never. You know, the Resident Evil DLC is not the thing that has ever immediately excited me. It's
Resident Evil 4.
I know.
We love that game.
We do love that game. I also love 8. It was one of my games of the year. I haven't touched any of their DLCs.
Apparently it's garbage.
Well, like this is the thing. Like Resident Evil DLC is not a thing that excites me.
Okay, fair enough.
Resident Evil 7 DLC also garbo.
Okay, fair enough. Good call.
Final Fantasy, yes, clearly. More colors of PlayStation, like that's
Good enough, whatever.
Like that's a tweet.
Yeah.
Tales of Arise, hilarious.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Honkai Star Rail, whatever. Baby Steps, yes, cool. Roblox was there. Ghostbusters.
It was like Ghostbusters.
Yeah, in VR.
Yeah.
Like the Avatar game, like I'm excited for that, but this trailer didn't really do anything for me. And Ghost Runner 2 also still continues to look quite cool. I need to finish that first one.
Yeah.
Like like overall it was kind of like this feels like half of a state of play to me.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's fair. It's a lot of like not much new here. A lot of known quantities here. I loved seeing more Rebirth, and I love getting that surprise of the Resident Evil 4 DLC. Baby Steps was good fun. And then Spider-Man 2 did more for me than I thought it would for a trailer. So yeah, but I guess I just enjoyed it more, and it was tighter and faster. You know what I mean? Like they got in, they got out. It was 27 minutes, and I wasn't upset with any of it.
No, like there was nothing in either of them that was like offensive. I think it was just
I really don't like the name Unicorn Overlord.
I don't know why you have such an issue with that. Like,
I mean, neither do I.
Also,
it just is.
Also, like that game, looks like a good game. Like it's a tactics game. You know, there's room for those, and like I've heard not a single bad thing about 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim. So like
I have.
Really? Oh,
it's about like you like a lot of those protagonists are kids, and they get like naked, and like the game kind of sexualizes them a bit / a lot.
Oh, I haven't heard that.
It's kind of like an underlying like, yeah, this game's cool, just like don't worry about the naked bits.
Yeah, right. Well, regardless, I think that like overall, like Unicorn Overdrive looks like a good game, even if I might not play it. Like I still think like it looks like a good game, but we got like 3 new Mario games coming out of that direct.
I mean, yeah, yep, okay. And well, 2 of them are remakes.
2 of them are remakes, but like they're like ground up remakes. They're not like
and like fan favorite, like good ones to pick. Like yeah.
One of the best WarioWare games maybe that we've had in a while.
We don't know yet.
It looks like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe that's the
good.
difference here. Maybe that's the difference. I'm not getting that excited because it's like, oh yeah, Mario vs. Donkey Kong remake. That's cool. Oh, 1,000 Year Door. Awesome. Like, it's like, yeah, cool. And then Princess Peach Showtime, I'm a little lower on it than most people. And those are the heavy ones there. WarioWare is up there. It's doing good. But I also know it's WarioWare, and I'll probably only get 5 to 8 hours out of it. Whereas looking at Rebirth, I'm looking at something that is it's the sequel to maybe my favorite game of all time. That is going to rate highly.
Sure.
Regardless of where it's shown, you know, Game Awards, Gamescom, State of Play, it was here, so it goes to the State of Play column. It wins there. But again, I looked forward to that Spider-Man 2 gameplay, me getting controller hands-on soon because of seeing it here. That did help me get more excited as someone who is already like locked in to play it. Resident Evil 4 Separate Ways did maybe it's that there's more new things here that is going to hook me compared to something like Mario vs. Donkey Kong. I don't know how far I'll get into. Princess Peach, I don't know if it's going to be for me. 1,000 Year Door, I definitely will play. You know, maybe that's a difference.
But there was nothing new here aside from Resident Evil and
Deep Earth faceplates and DualSense.
Yes. Accessories we're not going to buy.
Tales of Arise DLC.
Sorry, yeah, and the Tales of Arise DLC. Like those are the only 2 new things that we got. Like it's like it's like, and like I think for me, like I'm looking at the Nintendo Direct, I see nothing but 8s and 9s.
Yeah, but a lot of these aren't new either. 1,000 Year Door is a remake. Mario vs. Donkey Kong is a remake. F-Zero 99 is just the SNES game made online.
Yep, no, but
Tomb Raider 1 to 3 remasters.
No.
Toon 3 DLC.
I'm stopping you there because what we are getting is things that I didn't know existed the day before the Direct came out. Is what like it is a new thing.
You're getting announcements.
Yeah, I'm getting something new.
Yes,
as opposed to I know nearly all of this exists. Like I'm getting trailers for things that I knew existed in my head.
But I'm more excited about these things I already knew about.
You're excited about two of the things that you already knew that were there.
I'm excited about baby steps. And Resident Evil 4 Separate Ways was new. We are getting that.
Yeah, that's one of the two new things. Yeah.
And the other things they showed, I'm still very, very excited for.
I don't know if you should be excited about Separate Ways. Their track record is worse.
No, I meant the things we already knew about. So Spider-Man 2 and Rebirth.
Yeah, sure.
I'm more excited for both of those than I am for the thing I'm most excited for in the Nintendo Direct.
I'm weirdly more excited about WarioWare than I am for Spider-Man. Like
What about Rebirth though?
Yeah, like I'm obviously excited about Rebirth, but
I just need you to say it.
I know, but I also still have Final Fantasy VII that I haven't played. Like I still have that sitting ready to go. Like
what a joy for you.
Like I'll get there. And I'll get there.
What a I'm so happy for you.
Like I'll get there.
Have that.
I'll get there before Rebirth comes out, but I'm not like
no, it's not. There's too much. There's too much to do that is incredible for this year.
Yeah,
you can handle episode intermission chapter 2 in January, no worries.
Yeah. Like I think maybe going from that almost directly into Rebirth could be kind of fun.
It could help, yeah.
Yeah,
because the ending cutscene of intermission takes you immediately out into post 7 remake with Cloud and Barrett and Aerith and Tifa and Red.
Yeah.
Like you get a little post scene with them as well.
It's kind of meant to bridge the gap. I think in a more perfect world, Rebirth. Well, I mean, we know this Rebirth was actually already meant to come out this year. Well,
they said winter. They said winter next year or whatever, is like.
Didn't they say 2023 initially? Was like they just said the year.
It was winter. It might have been winter 2023, or it might have just been winter next year.
Right.
But what I had that in my head is like, well, they said winter, and February I think in America is still technically winterish, so it's really not that far from what they initially announced.
Oh, I know. Yeah,
February is still summer for us.
Yeah, no, sorry. Yeah, sorry. I had it mixed up.
They don't change in the States. They don't change their seasons on the first of a month.
Yeah.
They don't. A lot of people in the States don't know when the seasons change because it's a random 20-something of August or whatever. It's like, what are you guys doing?
Yeah, I don't understand.
Anyway,
there are so many things wrong with that country. There are so many things.
And now we're back to the break.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, I think I needed all of these to try and win me over, and the only one that did was like Final Fantasy and Bennett, Boddy's game. Like Spider-Man still hasn't won me yet.
Yeah, I don't know what that's about. I mean, I think that's it won me is the thing.
Yeah, but you're a sucker.
Yeah, but 3 years ago for this, you would have been too.
Yeah, no, I know. And this is what I'm concerned about. Is I'm concerned that the things that they are doing in this, like them saying the map is twice as big as it was last time. I'm like, that I don't care.
No, for me, I do really care because when I finished Miles Morales, I was like, I need to be in a place that isn't just this one strip of New York again, because I've done it twice now. I need something else.
Sure, but them it wasn't like, it was like, hey, we've got this other island, this new section and stuff, but I don't need just.
You don't like them using it as a size, like a quantity.
No, this is like Starfield. We have 2,000 planets. I don't care. Like if it's good, then great. But you telling me how big it is not exciting to me. No matter who.
I wonder if that's a symptom of how much they were trying to say as quickly as they said it. But yeah.
Yeah. Also, the water stuff, the water gliding. I don't think it looks great.
The water gliding,
the being able to skid across water and the wingsuit and there's things in there that I feel like they're having to solve problems that they've created for themselves. Like they've made this map that is now twice as big as what they had, right? So the solution is now that you've got a wingsuit and you can go through these rings and it boosts you through the air so you get more speed, so you can traverse faster, and there's different ways to traverse over the sections of water in between the two islands, so you're not... And it's like, I think that this is... You are now having to create solutions for problems you've created yourself by making a world that is maybe already too big. because my issue in Spider-Man was never I'm not getting there fast enough.
No, but they also made you faster.
Like I know that you could swing faster and stuff, and there are things you could do like the jet, like the the dash forward and stuff. But like I didn't need a way to fly in that game or glide fly like the. I'm like my cynical brain gives me Superman 64 flashbacks of flying through rings.
No, with the rings in the air, it's easy. It's an easy comparison. But like wingsuit.
It's a bit like what it reminds me of, which is like I hope it doesn't go this way. Did you ever play Saints Row 4?
Yes. You think this looks like Saints Row 4?
No, but what I'm saying is Saints Row 4 suffered because it created solutions to problems that it had created, which was,
Yes, but I also think I understand why Saints Row 4 did that. Because, like, I mean, they could have done it differently, but I understand why they did that because 3 did so well, and the series that was known for being over the top had a successful entry, and they had to one-up themselves.
Yeah, I get it, but
these guys are in the same boat without the dildo bats.
Yeah, which is why I'm concerned that they're going to fall in the same trap. Like my concern is that they're going to accidentally have to do the same thing again and then not make a game that's better than their first one. Which is
maybe. I mean, I wouldn't be upset. I wouldn't be upset if we still got like another 8, like an 8 or a 9 Spider-Man. If it's not like
sure,
if it's as good as Miles Morales, I'll be slightly disappointed and mostly ecstatic.
But when you're doing a big thing like this, I want you to be able to not have to like give yourself problems. Like it happens so often.
I don't know if it's a give yourself problems thing. Again, this is like I want them to add more places to go.
Yeah.
And they heard that feedback. How do they address that in a New York setting? Well, New York's a fucking island, so they have to add another island. Like, I don't know if this is a problem. I don't know if this is like an unforced error, Like it's a natural extension of what their design of this game is. I don't think it's them. It's not them stepping on a rake. It's them. It's a required problem to address, I would say.
But I think that I don't need it to be bigger. I just need it to be different.
You want them to reduce the amount of New York main island they have to give you other space that is different?
Well, maybe they can do like a different a different version of that, right? Like you don't get the entire New York island that you used to have. You get a bottom part and a surrounding area.
I'm happy with them giving us the island and giving us a bit more because like they've done that work on it. They already brought it forward with Miles. They can give it a bit more like foliage and bird density and fucking whatever, and then make more stuff over there too. It's still a road, but like it's a place that exists and continues to exist. Like it is a real city because it's based off a real city. There's nothing wrong with it continuing to be there, and then they give us a bit more.
I hope I'm wrong. I'm just concerned. Nothing here has made me go like, yeah, I'm not looking at a slam dunk in my eyes. I'm looking at okay, let's see how we go. Like let's see how it comes.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Web winged arms crossed.
I think the gliding doesn't look that fun. It's not as cool as swinging. Swinging.
But you can swing whenever you want.
Yeah, I know. But if gliding is faster than swinging, but swinging is more fun than gliding, then that's annoying. When the faster travel is not as fun as the fun travel, and it's like, oh, but I want to swing, but I'm gonna get there way faster if I just fucking glide, and you're like, ugh.
From the footage I've seen, it doesn't look that faster.
Why is it there?
All right, we're gonna leave. We're gonna put a pin in that right there. That's it for this week's episode, everyone. Thank you so much for listening. We're about to do the post show live on Twitch. We're gonna try and come up with a name for this episode.
We've got one.
Yeah, we got a couple. We'll go over it with the chat, see what they reckon. But yeah, thank you so much for listening all the way to the end. What do we talk about next week, Jeremy? Maybe Lies of P? Who knows?
Definitely Lies of P. That game comes out tomorrow.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I thought it was out because there's been so much coverage over the last week. Like the review embargo was days and days ago, and streamers have been streaming it
Friday
for
or Saturday,
like days.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you want to follow us, if you want to follow the MiniMap account to find out when new episodes go live, when we go live, when we're streaming, you can follow all of our social accounts at MiniMapAU. You can follow us individually as well. Jeremy, where can they follow you?
At Obi1Jez.
You can follow me at KJ Palmer on Blue Sky, KJ Palmer _24 on Twitter. You can also head to minimap.com.au to find absolutely everything else Minimap related, including the Mini Disc podcast, our pecking order kissability pop culture ranking podcast, our latest written articles. There's plenty of content about Spider-Man on this website because we started this website 3 months before Spider-Man 2018 came out. So you can hear our initial impressions of when we played it then. I did a piece on the DLC about how it's like good, like junk food kind of game. Gaming, I guess.
I did a preview for Alaskan Road Truckers last week.
Oh, yeah, we've got a new written article. Yeah, Jeremy's preview of Alaskan Road Truckers. That went up.
Yeah.
Sorry, I forgot about that.
That game's fine.
Yeah, and you did a good preview of it.
Beep, beep. Honk, honk.
Yeah, I was going to say, just classic Alaskan truck
beep,
sound.
Beep, 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 beep.
It's like a Vespa. For those of you listening to us later, please make sure to give us those positive ratings, those oh-so-tasty 5-star ratings, as it says here on the script. It helps us out a lot. And if you'd like to, you consider joining us live for the live show next week. If you're free and available Monday night, it's a good time. Lastly, just wanted to remind you that we are also on Patreon. If you wanted to support us there, if you wanted us to support us monetarily, financially, to help us keep the mics and lights on, you can do that at patreon.com/minimapau. And for $5 Australian bucks, you'll get 24 hours of early access for all episodes of the MiniMapCast, as well as some other benefits, all while helping us out greatly. We're going to leave that there. We're going to head off. We're going to go. Thank you so much for listening. Have a great week. See you in Krat place in Liza P. Goodbye.